evening. Welcome to the Pearl Report. I'm Diana Lin. In our digital high-speed world, slowing down and finding inner tranquility seem to have become a luxury. Now, a practice called mindfulness, rooted in Eastern spirituality, is fast catching on in Hong Kong, just like yoga did. Producer Sylvia Yu looks at the physical and psychological effects of mindfulness.
Works in human resources at a multinational bank in Hong Kong, overseeing staff in 19 countries.
My mind starts thinking various things. I would get overwhelmed with the amount of work I had. I suddenly come out of the meeting and it was a very tough meeting and I'm feeling all up and down and I need to enter another meeting. Now what happens is I just have a 2 minutes break. How can I bounce back? Mindfulness.
Done through meditation and deep breathing.
And I do nothing. I just observe my thoughts. The action is feeling your whole fabric, feeling the room, feeling the energy, listening to the sounds, being in a state of complete awareness. And after I finish, I'm back. And now I can go to the next meeting and I've switched on fresh and new thoughts.
Mindfulness is the awareness arising from paying attention on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally.
A decade ago, when Alok was a corporate banker in India,
while sitting in the hospital, that I was diagnosed completely unfit, standing on the door of acquiring cardiac diseases, diabetes, chronic stress, knee problems, back problems.
He switched to less stressful human resources at his bank. He also sought a spiritual cure in different religions and meditation courses. One day, he discovered mindfulness. Mindfulness has roots in Eastern philosophy.
In Buddhism, meditation is just simply mental training. You learn to focus your mind. By focusing your mind, you develop clarity and you'll be able to develop wisdom. In meditation, there is the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is now such a big market. A lot of people using mindfulness practice for all kind of reasons, as a kind of therapy.
How are you doing?
Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you.
Alok coaches mindfulness in his spare time. He likens it to yoga, which has become mainstream.
Mindfulness and yoga is complementary. Not only are you able to relax your mind, but your whole body.
Dr. Samuel Wong has studied the effects of mindfulness on chronically stressed patients.
So people over time can become less reactive to events, especially the negative one. I think in the long term, they actually develop better EQ, emotional intelligence.
But Dr. Samson Tse is concerned about effects on the general population.
The concern here is how the intervention of practices take place. We are not entirely clear. Benefits who, for what, under what circumstances? How about those who don't benefit? We are not knowing a lot at the moment.
Dr. Tse says mindfulness is already mainstream in the West.
The commercialization, the overselling of this practice remains a concern. This could lead to a couple of problems here. One is a person's need is not being met. I go to sign up for something, but I never benefit, but I pay quite a huge price for that.
This is a little bit of a reminder of some of the potential challenges.
Angela Spaxman offers an 8-week program at $4,800 to coach corporate executives on mindfulness. A one-to-one session in Hong Kong could cost $4,000 per hour.
Really, mindfulness is sort of like a set of exercises to offer people who want to change their minds in different ways.
Angela advises mindfulness meditation daily for at least 10 minutes.
With mindfulness training, things that can happen quite quickly is increasing patience.
Start to broaden your attention to the space of the mind itself.
I couldn't really manage my day-to-day priorities well. With this mindfulness training, I am getting a lot more aware of when I'm being distracted, and I can pull myself back in, and I'm achieving a lot more in my day.
Staying detached, isn't it?
Angela says mindfulness is slow to catch on in Hong Kong's corporate world.
And especially since it's very new, so not many people know about it.
Angela says mindfulness suffers from a stigma associated with meditation.
Meditation is used in all kinds of different religious practices, and so it can be quite confusing.
Venerable Hin Hung believes mindfulness can't be separated from Buddhist teachings.
You cannot take just part of the practice or the training without the core philosophy and hope that you get the whole package. You are not benefiting fully from Buddhist teachings. In that way, it's not good.
Hong Kong has around 50 mindfulness trainers. Hin Hung says a good mindfulness master should have 20 years experience and solid spiritual qualifications.
If you're just there to promote your service with the objective of making money, you do not fully understand your clients. If you're asking people to quiet down, you try to quiet down, you cannot calm down. All kind of weird images come up in your mind, and then in that sense, it can go wrong.
And sensing the ankles.
Dr. Helen Ma is a certified teacher at the Mindfulness Center, opened at England's Oxford University in 2008. It's leading research on the practice. Dr. Ma, who also teaches at Hong Kong University, says some 500 scientific studies were done last year on the effects of mindfulness.
Evidence showing that learning mindfulness, people tend to have, less depressed, less anxious. Also, having greater sense of well-being, higher quality of life, more flexible in their problem solving.
When I'm mindfully typing, I'm able to deal with almost 50 emails in a matter of minutes. But if I'm not mindful, then I can take hours and I will never finish those 50 emails. So I get more work done in less times, 4 times more work.
My main concern is that people will take mindfulness as a kind of like painkiller, as the tool to relax yourself, but you continue hectic working schedule. It may actually make the problem worse because it lets you continue in this harmful lifestyle for longer, which is not good for you.
I'm having more energy. It has transformed my life.
We need to ask, is there something in my life that I need to change? Those are harder questions to ask than just going to a mindfulness session. It's important when we engage in mindfulness to have some kind of moral or spiritual framework.
Alok says mindfulness comes most easily when he plays with his son.
What were you thinking about when you were playing?
Nothing.
Nothing. Football? Nothing. Then you were doing what? Playing?
Yeah.
So essentially, children are naturally mindful. You can either play or you can think, right? You can't do both.
Alok says if the present moment for you
is the past, which is what you have acquired, or is the future, or what you want to acquire. So you're missing out on the beauty of that intimate moment in the present.
For me, mindful is just noticing what's going on inside you.
Kinsey is a Canadian entrepreneur in Hong Kong.
I'm watching the boats go by, and sometimes something that I'll see will trigger a memory.
If it's a bad memory and she's being mindful,
well, I'll be aware of that thought and allow it to just pass through, and making a choice of whether I'm going to go off with that distraction or stick with what I want to accomplish in this moment.
When she's not being mindful,
I can leave Soho and arrive in my apartment and not know how I got there. It's like I go onto automatic pilot. So automatic pilot is not being mindful.
For Kinsey, practicing mindfulness is a daily habit, whether she's making tea or journaling by the beach.
I'd been practicing some meditation, some mindfulness. Mindfulness helped me to start seeing the patterns. My pattern was to go 190 miles an hour all the time. I wasn't taking care of myself. The meditation part of it helped me to connect with my inner self, like a container of feelings inside of me that had the lid on my whole life. The tears came.
After she began practicing mindfulness, Kinsey had major surgery on her lower back. One weekend, she had debilitating back pain.
I was mindful. Whether you look at it as physical rest or mindful rest, I spent the next 2 days consciously resting.
Her pain receded on the third day.
Becoming aware of what's going on in your body provides you with the information that you need to do to make conscious choices to either heal it or to prevent further damage.
Like getting some exercise.
Sending more loving attention to the body, and healing just takes place, gradually. But it takes time, and it takes a lot of practice. I think you'd be wise to really have somebody who is more experienced to be there as a support.
You put down your self-defense and you are susceptible to all kinds of suggestions. A mentor will be one who can help you sort out some of the forces.
Coming up, mindfulness for medical students.
Mindfulness will always be my tool to handle these emotions.
Mindfulness free of charge.
We teach people, just be happy in your life.
How to gain compassion from mindfulness.
World lived on fast forward is problematical.
More on that when we return. Stay with us.